Hey everybody, welcome back to Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau, former Jags player, Austen Lane, and he is everywhere now on the wall that says it all. If you're watching on the video channels on our social media platforms, which we do every day here on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690, we're giving you a little bit something different today. We're down in the TV studio, CBS 47 and Fox 30, but if you're listening in your car, we'll try to make it good for you as well as we illustrate what happened on the Jaguars' final defensive drive. This is when the Broncos took the lead on Sunday. And what happens, Austin, is I think a lot of people say, Todd Wash, Todd Wash, Todd Wash.
Yeah.
What about this scheme? How does he let him drive down the field? What's going on? Now, remember, they have no Jalen Ramsey.
Correct.
They're up by 6 with under 3 minutes to go. They end up giving up a 6-play bam, 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 1 minute and 22-second drive.
Yeah.
That's the go-ahead touchdown.
Yeah.
How much before you kind of illustrate what went on there is, well, Todd Wash played the wrong defense?
Well, let's remember who we're talking about here in Todd Wash, all right? 2017, he had a top 5 NFL defense. 2018, top 5 NFL defense. So from that perspective to say, you know, he's killed the Jaguars defense, it's really hard to say that because he's had so much success. Now, yes, last year, maybe didn't have as many sacks as 2017, but he's still running kind of the same things. Now, with the emergence of Dom Capers this year, you know, Todd Wash has kind of mixed it up a little bit on third down. But we're about to show you right here, these defenses, you've been seeing them for the past 2 or 3 years, and when the Jaguars defense have been really successful. So from that perspective, I feel like this doesn't really fall on Todd Wash per se. This falls on more of just the players have to make the plays.
Here's what fans hate, right? And again, we're going to get to these plays in a minute. And if you're just listening, go back and watch some of the social media platforms and you'll see the plays we're talking about. Yeah. If you're watching on our video platforms, well, this is a treat for you, hopefully, and something we're trying a little bit new. But people hate in general to prevent defense when you're up.
Correct.
What does it do? It prevents you from winning.
Yes.
Why do so many people do it then?
Because it's the safe thing, right? The last thing you want to do is give up the home run ball. And now when you break down some of these plays, you're going to see, well, they're in the prevent defense. You know, they're in the quarters defense. They're playing safe. Yes and no, because they do have some man tendencies here we're about to show you. And we keep in mind with the man tendencies, the guys that are in zone coverage, they have to have the man coverages back. And unfortunately, that didn't take place here.
And I think you're right a little bit there, too. It's like, here's the deal. Here's the mindset, is what I believe, of a defense. It's like, okay, you beat us with a touchdown. Well, we don't think you can score a touchdown.
Yeah.
And remember, the entire second half, the Jags' defense was really good. Denver's offense, not so good. All right, so let's go through the plays. And again, we'll try to illustrate this both for the listener and for the viewer as well. We call it just 3 downs. And by the way, Austen Lane, you're everywhere on the wall that says it all.
That's it's a little weird looking at myself the whole time, but it's okay. I'm not going to be too distracted.
And this is the least dressed down I've ever been in this studio to be on like TV or something.
And me, I'm still casual, so we're all good.
You're just your normal self, which is good. So they get the ball back with 2:54 to go.
Correct.
And the first play is, well, a big play. But I think there's something to note about the first play from my perspective is if you go back and watch this video, Josh Allen and Calais Campbell come really close to getting to Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
What else happens?
Okay, so we talked about it the whole week last week, right? They want to involve Emmanuel Sanders. And the thing with Emmanuel Sanders is you can put him in a lot of places. And what the Broncos did here is they kind of covered him up a little bit. He's kind of unassuming out of this formation. So what happens is Hamilton and Emmanuel Sanders are kind of on top of each other. Okay, I'm sorry. So what happens is Emmanuel Sanders and Hamilton are right on top of each other in this formation. And Hamilton breaks off first. Sanders breaks off second. Now, it's Quincy Williams. He's in zone coverage here, right? So he's dropping back into coverage. He goes to the first thing that he sees. And what he sees Hamilton up, and he sees Hamilton right in front of him. Now, if you're Quincy Williams, you're a rookie. You're from Murray State. You rely on your instincts, and that's great. You know, we've seen his instincts come up a lot, especially in the run game. Well, he relies on his instincts a little too quickly here. He sees the wide receiver in front of him. He takes that. Unfortunately, Emmanuel Sanders goes behind him, and Sanders is wide open.
So is this a good route in the first play that Denver runs, a good play, and almost played by the Jags front four doesn't get home? Is it just good scheme? Is it good execution, or is it poor execution on the Jags and the young linebacker?
So here's what you want to see from Quincy Williams. You want to see Quincy Williams try to delay this as much as possible. When I say delay it, I mean kind of make Joe Flacco guess where he's going to go. Because right away, Quincy Williams breaks on Hamilton right in front of him. And instead of like maybe dropping back a little more and kind of playing games with him, Quincy Williams goes right now. When Quincy Williams makes that, conscientious decision to go right now, that leaves Sanders open in the back. Flacco sees that, and it's pretty much a pretty easy pitch and catch.
And it was a pretty big play to start the drive, but there were more of them. Let's walk down here on the wall that says it all. And keep in mind now, you got to keep it on. See, we're going to do a little TV and radio. Don't get in front of the folks here.
Yeah, I got you.
All right? So now we're with 1:46 to go in the game. And all of a sudden, wow, Denver's got it at the 35-yard line of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we fast forward a bit in this drive, 2nd and 13 because of the holding penalty, remember? Well, here we are, set up this play for the listener and the viewer.
Absolutely. So what we see here is this is kind of like the new trend of the NFL right now. It's the bunch formation. You got 2 receivers on each side of the football. But if you go to the right side where the play takes place, the receivers are close together. They're in that bunch formation. The Rams really started to do this a lot, and other teams are taking note. What this basically does is every play that happens, Brent, it happens a little more quickly. So if you're doing a crossing route, if you're doing a go route, whatever it is, those plays happen quickly just because, they're closer to the line of scrimmage. So now we see the first thing I noticed, the safety. The safety is actually starting down on the line of scrimmage, and he starts walking back. So that leads you to believe it's going to be a cover 2. They're going to have 2 safeties then back. A cover 2 is a great call here. But the one problem is when you're on cover 2 is you're going to go man coverage on the outsides. Fantastic, go man coverage. We have the players to do that, especially A.J. Boye on Emmanuel Sanders. But here's the problem. When you go cover 2 like that and you're out of this formation, it means that if they attack the middle, it could be wide open if you don't get a good jam. So let's keep on going down
Flacco,
here.
by the way, is a veteran guy. He knows about that, and he knows exactly what you're talking about. He might be even looking for it. Without Jalen Ramsey in the game, they still have Trey Herndon in the back of their mind throughout this whole drive for Denver. So again, if you're just to catch you up on the illustration part of this, this is 1:46 to go, 2nd and 13 after the holding penalty on the 35-yard line. Plenty of time on the clock for Denver, and another big play. Take us to where they snap the ball.
So, like I mentioned a lot, the Los Angeles Rams do this formation all the time. And if you watched the Super Bowl last year, while it was pretty boring, the Patriots did a genius job of shutting these kind of formations down. What did they do? They get up and they jam the receivers. Now, you got Emmanuel Sanders again. It's like we said, Brent, they want to feed him the ball. He's the leader. He was upset the last game against Green Bay. He was calling for more reps. Guess what? He got more reps. So from here, it's a simple rub play. Basically what he's going to do is he's going to attack the inside, and the receivers are going to cross. And when the receivers cross like this, when it's so congested, when it's so convoluted like that, it kind of puts the defensive backs in a tough point, especially playing man.
Boye got put in a tough spot here.
Yeah, put in a tough spot here. So how can you defeat this, though? How can you help yourself? Well, if you're A.J. Boye, you're on the line of scrimmage, man. You're head-to-head on him. That's where you jam him as hard as you can. Because
throw off the timing.
Throw off the timing a little bit. Because you're going to have, if it goes deep, you have the safeties in the back. So say you jam him, you miss a little bit, people are going to have your back. But the last thing you want to do is go up the inside route. That's exactly what happened right here.
Okay, so that's frame number 2 of this if you're watching on our social media platforms. And what's happened is the rub has actually taken place.
Yes.
And Miles Jack and A.J. Boye kind of collide a little bit. And at least for a second, throw the timing of this off for the defense and really open the door for Joe Flacco and the offense. And if we take it a frame or 2 further, well, here we are. By the way, we're not allowed to show you actual video, so stay on here. So we're showing you some still frames of it. But now Sanders has separated a couple of frames later, not even seconds later. We're talking about a couple of beats later, and Joe Flacco's already in his throwing motion. This sets up the play all the way down inside the 10-yard line.
Correct, exactly. You know, with Emmanuel Sanders, like we talked about on the show, Brent, he can do so many things. You can put him in so many areas, and they're going to give him the ball, especially in crunch time. So with that, all things being considered, you got to know where Sanders is at all times, and you have to know what they're trying to do with him.
Okay, we're going to go to the last play now because this is the touchdown for the Denver Broncos. This gives them the lead in the football game, and the Jaguars blew it. The defense didn't hold them. Todd Wash, what are you doing? Why was this so easy? 6 plays in 1 minute and 22 seconds. Take us through the last play. They've got it inside the 10-yard line. They scored immediately, thankfully, because it left enough time for Minshew on the clock.
Exactly. So listen, they're by the 10-yard line. Things get compact in the 10-yard line. That's when your pass rush, they have to hum. They have to hit home. Unfortunately here, this ball got off in about maybe 1.5 to 2 seconds. It was a fast release, and here's what happened. The Denver Broncos actually ran this exact same play during the second play of the last drive. And what Joe Flacco is doing here, as you can tell, is he's not looking at he's not looking at Fant. He's not looking at Sutton right here.
In the middle of the field.
I'm sorry. So Fant's in the middle of the field, the tight end. He's not looking at Sutton on the outside. He's looking at Quincy Williams. Now, why is he looking at Quincy Williams? Well, as you can see, that they're in the zone coverage right now, and Quincy Williams is playing quarters coverage. So basically what that means is, once again, like we talked to before, everything in front of him, he's got to take. Well, the second play of the drive, Quincy Williams turned his back to Sutton and went immediately to Noah Fant. What that did basically is say, listen, if Quincy Williams turns his back to Cortland Sutton on the outside, Joe Flacco's got one-on-one coverage all day, and you hit Sutton.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened again here. So basically Joe Flacco is watching Quincy Williams the whole time. As soon as Quincy Williams turns his head and turns his back to Sutton, it leaves it wide open one-on-one. He hit him on the the little in route right there, and it's a touchdown.
It's a touchdown. And you can see that at the bottom of the screen.
Exactly.
We go to the frames, and it looks like he beats Herndon on the play, but
Exactly.
he really beats Quincy Williams.
He does, because keep in mind here. So if you're Trey Herndon right now, you understand. You're 5'11". You're going against about a 6'4" guy. The last thing you want to do is get mossed on live television, right? The last thing you want to do is give the outside route. So you know that you have help inside. So Trey Herndon right here, he is giving up the inside, right? Because he doesn't want Cortland Sutton, a big receiver who has big playability, to go outside of him. That's perfect. This is perfect technique right here by Trey Herndon. He invites everything to go back inside where he has help. The one problem is that when he invites him inside, Quincy Williams has his back turned to him. Instead of just staying square, seeing the whole field, Quincy Williams locks in on the tight end, leaving Cortland Sutton wide open on the backside.
Okay, a couple of things here, and then we'll wrap this up. And hope you're having fun watching this if you are on our social media platforms. Hopefully you're understanding it as we try this if you're just listening to the radio right now. But I noticed a couple of things.
Yeah.
I think this is Jared Wilson here, I think. He's got his eyes on the backfield, on the back coming out.
Correct.
Calais Campbell has dropped back into coverage. He's not even on the front line. He also has his eyes.
Yes.
So did other people mess up this play too because there's too much attention on a back coming out of the backfield and not enough attention in the middle of the field?
So here's the thing, and we've seen this drop in coverage before from Calais Campbell or from a 3 technique. Basically what Calais is doing is he's taking the guy closest to him, right? Where he understands that Cortland Sutton on the outside isn't going to cut across the middle. Cortland Sutton is either going to go on the outside, try to run like that fly pattern, or else just drop deeper. So if you're Calais Campbell right now, you take the first guy that you see because that's his job. Listen, they're not going to put Calais Campbell, all due respect to the mayor of Saxonville, you're not going to put him on Cortland Sutton. So basically, Calais Campbell has anything coming out of the backfield, any crossing route in front of him. So Calais Campbell does his job here. And now, this is Wilson right here, correct?
I think it's Wilson. I'm pretty sure. I can't tell. It's a little fuzzy.
Yeah, it's a little fuzzy. But then we have, so we have
He's
Wilson.
back at the 3-yard line, by the way, and he lets Sutton go by.
Yes.
Because he's got his eyes, I think, on the back in the backfield.
So yeah, Wilson's taking the back in the backfield man. So basically, what they're doing is they're kind of double teaming the back a little bit. They got Calais Campbell taking the back, and they got Wilson taking the back. Now, if we watch Phillip Lindsay, is he the best pass catcher? Probably not, but this is just how the formation worked. I mean, this wasn't a design scheme where they're going to double team Phillip Lindsay. Yeah, it's how it worked out. So this is why it kind of seems like, well, why would you double team the running back? That's just how the coverage dictated it.
Okay, and by the way, that might be Ronnie Harrison too.
Okay,
it's either Harrison. It's one of the safeties.
Sure.
It's either Harrison or Wilson. Okay, end story.
Yeah.
As we take a look at the wall that says it all, and you're everywhere on the wall, by the way.
I know, it's a little intimidating.
I think as much as we pointed out Trey Herndon as being kind of the weak link at times, I think Quincy Williams struggled on this final drive on 2 of the plays that we illustrated or you illustrated. Is that correct?
Yeah, and exactly. And like I said, I mean, the play from the touchdown, they ran this exact same play the second play of the drive. And basically, listen, what makes Quincy Williams so great is his instincts, right? He attacks downfield, he sees something, he recognizes, and he goes. Well, unfortunately, sometimes when you do that, when you turn your back to the receiver, when you make your decision in the pass game right away, sometimes things can creep through the back door. So sometimes, teams are kind of planning on you to do that.
Eye discipline.
Eye discipline, exactly. and you know what? And listen, that's going to come with time. It's something to go from OVC opponents at Murray State to, playing the Denver Broncos when they scheme around you. And, for lack of a better word, this last drive, a lot of it fell on Quincy Williams. Now, yes, he did make some good plays in the final drive as well, but we're just highlighting some of the mistakes that he made.
All right, and one final thought. We started with Todd Wash. Do you think Todd Wash watched the film of this last drive and said, dang it, I wish I would have done something different? Honest answer, I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think so, because you're putting your players in the spots to make the plays. They just have to recognize it. They have to have the eye discipline to recognize the play and make a play off it. And it's simple. It's nothing that Quincy Williams can't do. It's all about just staying square, not giving away where you're going to right away, and playing that zone coverage. Those things can be cleaned up in practice easily. It's not a talent issue. It's more of just seeing the play, reading it as a whole, and then going.
All right. Well, you can wash all the makeup off your face now. We'll run up and do the rest of radio.
I'm not wearing any.
Radio mixed with TV here on the wall that says it all. We're down the TV studio, going back up to the radio studio with more of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.